is a Bramble Jam podcast.
This week on Yo Gavel Gavel, Terry says James's shoddy craftsmanship is responsible for damages. One thing's for sure, Judge Mablean's about to blow the roof off of this thing.
And what happens when you climb in a washing machine and it turns on? Judge Gino finds out. Real people.
Real cases. Fake justice. This is Yo Gavel Gavel.
Oh, boy. Isn't it good?
Friday.
Friday.
Oh.
Friday, huh? Friday, huh?
Man, another Friday, another week of the gavel.
It's the gavel. The gavel, some people say the shoe is dropped. We say the gavel is dropped.
That's right.
On a Friday.
That's right.
Amen?
The other gavel just dropped.
The other gavel just dropped.
Right.
Dan.
No one says the shoe is dropped.
Yeah?
No one goes, you know what? That's it. The shoe just dropped. No, the other shoe just dropped. I don't know why the phrase, I don't know. I don't think it works either way. I just want to be clear.
Well, because the way that it technically is, implies that somebody's standing on one foot waiting.
Yeah.
Wait until this happens.
Bam.
Bam.
Other shoe just dropped. But it's not the foot. It's just the shoe.
It's just the shoe.
Are they hanging?
Are they throwing
I've got
shoes
all
at
kinds
people?
of questions.
Is it like a George W. Bush shoe situation?
Nice. It's a
Thank
good call.
How classic is that?
It's a great bit.
Obviously, do not throw shoes at the president.
No, we don't know.
But if you do, it's going to be funny.
Yeah, it is.
There's nothing we can do about it. Welcome to Yo Gavel Gavel. It's a simple show every week here. Dan and I both watch a courtroom show so that you don't have to. There's so many. Sometimes as you turn on the TV and you're overwhelmed by the Judies, the people court. I'm
overwhelmed by the Judies all the time.
And things that you don't even know exist, such as personal injury court, which I'm talking about today. And so we watch it, we explain the story, the situation, the case to each other, and then the other person has to guess, where'd the judge land on this case?
It's a back and forth.
It's a back and forth. We would love for you to play along at home. Maybe you're driving in the car and just be like, guilty! Whatever you want to do, you can do that. Leave us a review on the Apple podcast.
We're almost at 100.
We're almost at 100.
So close.
We're almost at 100. And so just do it. Just do it. And maybe this is your first time listening, and we just want to say thank you so much for finding us. And I hope that you will stick around, subscribe, smash that subscribe button. So that's what they say on the YouTubes, all the kids. Smash that subscribe button. Ring that bell.
I've never been happier to be old.
Yeah. You're not a big, you don't just hang out on the YouTubes.
Oh my gosh, no.
So do that so that each week the episode's automatically downloaded and you'll have some gavel in your back pocket for whenever you need
a little gavel in your back
That's
pocket.
Exactly. Personally, I like listening on Friday mornings. It helps. It excites
Gets
me
my
for the
juices
weekend.
going, yeah.
But you can listen whenever you want to.
That's right.
And I think that's everything.
Bramble Jam Podcast Network.
That's exactly right.
Place to be.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Dan, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. We have ourselves a roofing case.
Oh,
you've been there.
I have more than you know.
Oh,
actually,
my gosh.
This is a true story. When I was selling my house, I had a bit of a roofing.
Really?
It wasn't a roofing. We believed that insurance should have covered some of it. And they just kept giving different excuses.
Wow.
So we didn't do anything with it, but we could have gone to Judge Mablean.
Maybe it's Mablean. Here's the thing about just Mablean. I can't believe that's her name. It never is not, it's weird that her name is Mablean. And it's just M-A-B. It's really spelled like
Mablean.
Mablean. But it's pronounced Maybelline. They throw that extra syllable in there. And she's a different kind of judge.
How would you describe her to someone who's never seen her?
All right. So she's very sassy, but I also don't think she knows the law.
Okay.
Does she have
a past? In the courtroom?
I've not looked it up, but she never is very clear on anything like, your Judy, your Judge Alex, your Judge Ross are. Right. And so it really is more fake justice than anything, I think. And so
that's what we're here for.
We are here for that. So let me introduce you to Terry.
I hope you do.
Terry owns a boutique fashion designer's small business. Now, what that means is she is not herself a boutique fashion designer, but she works with other small boutique fashion designers to get their line of clothing into the ether.
So
Get it out there.
I am a designer. I just kind of get into the world. I want my stuff into stores.
You go to Terry.
She
markets it, gets it ready. And as such, and she also is she just looks very straight laced. She's very in the box. She's very well spoken. She, minds your P's and Q's. And she just thinks, as soon as she walks in, you can tell she thinks she's right. She has a warehouse where she stores the clothes of these small businesses and she ships them out if people buy them. Like it's a turnkey.
Is it mainly online or is there
I don't know.
A brick and mortar?
She has a brick and mortar store and a warehouse, right?
Okay.
So there was a leak in her warehouse. And so she called around and she needed a new roof. And this is a warehouse, so it's got a steel roof on it. She lives in Palm Springs. It gets windy in Palm Springs.
Hurricane season.
Hurricane. I don't know why I said that. Like we were announcing a new MMA fighter. Welcome, Hurricane.
I'm the Hurricane.
Anyway, so she calls around and she finds this guy, James, by just Googling around, and she talks to James. She meets with him beforehand, and she thinks that this guy's a good roofer. The only thing she was upset about is he tried to upgrade her from a steel roof to a copper roof. And she was not happy about that because the copper roof would have been double the money. And
sure.
She felt he was trying to take advantage of her, but she still hired him, right?
Okay.
So she says he puts the steel roof on. She paid in full when the job was finished. And he said it would take 2 weeks. It took longer than 2 weeks. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. It's under the bridge. So the roof is fixed. She brings a new client in. She's hoping to sign. She's showing her the warehouse. They're in the warehouse and they hear a loud bang outside. And they're like, oh no. They walk outside and a piece of the steel roof has fallen off of the roof onto the client's car.
Oh
no. Right? So Terry is very upset.
Who's the client? The
client is a new client.
Somebody's bringing their clothes.
Yeah, but she's not signed yet. The client is not signed.
Okay, so she's coming to see the warehouse?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So Terry is just really, really sorry, blah, blah, blah. She pays for the damages for this girl's car, this client's car. Pays for him out of pocket.
So basically a new car.
Well, no, it's $1,850, so it must not have been that much damage.
Okay.
But she pays for the damages out of the car, and she basically is suing James for that $850. Now, before we get to James, because James is silent throughout this whole thing. He doesn't have no emotion. He's just over there sitting there like, may as well be on the back porch somewhere. So she calls up James and goes, hey, this fell off the roof. I need you to come look at this right now. And he says, I'm on another job. I can't be there for 2 weeks. She doesn't like that answer. And so she looks, and amidst the warranty that she signed with him, she has a parts warranty that covers the actual parts on the roof. So she calls the company that made the steel, right? Sure. And they send somebody out, as they do, because they don't want to pay for the damages. And they send this person out, and this person basically determines that it was the roofer's fault. This person determines that. And she's brought him with her to court.
Okay.
So at this point, Judge Mablean says, I want to hear from him. I don't want to hear from you anymore. So this guy gets up and she goes, hey, what happened with the roof? So the witness from the steel company basically says, hey, the bolts were too tight. And Judge Mablean's like, wait a minute. The bolts were too tight? And he goes, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. The steel expands, especially in heat. It expands. And so when you're building a steel roof and putting one on, you want to leave a little bit of give for that steel to expand. If not, it can very easily, when it expands, pop off. And then he says, apparently this roofer didn't know that. And he looks over at James, the roofer, like full on shade. And James just looks and just goes, whatever, like nothing. It's like he has like video evidence and he's not telling anybody, right? And so at this point, Judge Mablean goes, okay, I got to hear from James. That's it. James has been quiet the whole time. I got to hear from him. And James goes, my problem started 8 months ago when that woman called me, and we go to commercial. So you're like, okay,
what's going to happen?
James has some things to say. So
he can throw shade.
Yeah, James goes, so I get to the property. She's it's an open area. There's a lot of wind coming through. And I told her a copper roof would be much more beneficial. A steel roof may not actually be the best thing for her warehouse. I really highly recommended the copper roof. She was too cheap, didn't want a copper roof. She went with the steel roof. And Judge Mablean goes, but you did the steel roof. He says, yes, I did. And then he says, I I told this woman that it would be a 3-week job. It's going to take 3 weeks. She was insistent that we do it in 2 weeks. I said I would try my best. And Judge Mablean at this point goes, so you knew it would take 3 weeks and you tried to get it done in 2 anyway. Why did you do that? He goes, because I wanted the job. I wanted to make the money. And so I did the best I could. And Judge Mablean goes on this rant about how if the professional thinks it takes 3 weeks, then it should take 3 weeks. And you shouldn't give in on that because it's your work you're standing behind. And he goes, yes, sir, I understand.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I keep saying, sir, I don't know why. Maybe it's Maybelline. So at this point, he says, Judge Mablean goes, she's got a parts warranty. I got it right here. Is this your signature? Yes, it is. Okay, well, we've got a problem then, James. I don't remember his last name. And he said, but Your Honor, I never had the opportunity to check the damages for myself. I never got to go over and see if the damages could have been caused by my craftsmanship. And she said, but we got a witness that says it was. And he says, that witness is from the company that would be responsible if they determine it's my fault. So it is in his best interest to say that it's the roofer's fault. I never got to look at it myself because they took the roof down before I could look at any of it. So I've got these pictures. The woman, Terry's like, I've got pictures. And he goes, I never got to look at it myself. So at this point, Maybelline's angry and she just says, I think it was your fault. I think it was your fault because you clearly tried to do a job too quickly. And I've got a witness that says it was your fault. Why shouldn't I give her the money? And he says, 1, I didn't have any proof that it was my workmanship. And 2, I have this clause in the warranty that I would like to read to you.
Oh, a clause, a Santa Claus.
The best part of this case is the fact that my man James cannot say the word consequential. And I rewound it several times just for a chuckle. He cannot say the word consequential. Every time he says it, he says coincidental. And it's my favorite thing. He says coincidental.
That means something very different.
Thing is, in this clause he reads, there are a lot of big words, and he knows the rest of them. But consequential is coincidental. Every time. And this is the actual line he reads his warranty.
Can you read it like him?
No. Under no circumstances shall contractor be liable to owner or any other person for any incidental, special, coincidental, consequential, or other damages, including but not limited to the loss of profits or damage or loss of use of the building or its contents. Now, he reads that. He says, I'm not liable because this is an incidental or coincidental case, is what he says. And she said,
in his defense, it's a coincidence, right?
So I'm going to, I don't know how to go any further because I don't want to give you any more.
Okay.
I'm going to let you rule. What's the ruling?
Man, that's tough. I know that Judge Mablean does not like him.
No.
And doesn't believe him. But if you sign something and there's a clause, I don't know what you can do. I don't know because it does sound like it's an incidental. I still have questions about like how the steel fell off the roof onto the car. Do you have any detail? Like, is it a flat roof or is it an angled roof like a house? And so it like got loose and then it fell off.
I think it was on the end of the roof. They never said for sure, but most warehouses don't have a roof.
Yeah,
like a
it's
pointed.
flat.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm confused. Wind just blew it. Yeah. So from what that sounds like, it sounds like, hey, if something happens, there's not my fault, basically. Yeah. And she signed it.
Yeah. But it's also a warranty for the part, like all of the parts.
Man, that's tough. I'm going to say that Judge Mablean, she seems like a little bit emotional. Like she got upset.
Yes.
Doesn't like him. And so I think she might I think she's going to make him pay something, but not the full amount because of the clause. I'll go 50-50, 420. What was it? 420.
So
was it 850?
925, 1850.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said 850.
No, 1850.
Yeah. So 925 in favor.
You would be wrong.
Okay.
Maybe it's Maybelline. It's one of the weirdest turn of events I've ever said. She basically is about to rule on this case and says, all right, yeah, you did it. And he goes, but he literally stops her about to bang the gavel to read that clause. And then after he reads the clause, she goes, but that's like, she basically refutes the clause. She said, but it's still your material. Like the warranty is still for your material. And then he repeats it again. He goes, but Your Honor, incidental, special, or coincidental. He says that again. And she goes, he's right.
Yeah.
So she literally is about to bang the gavel in favor of the plaintiff. She goes, nope, that clause means he's right. Judge in favor of the defendant.
Wow, good for her. She's right. You know what?
She didn't understand the law.
I take it back. So she's clearly not very good. It took him reading. Like, he shouldn't have to work that hard to explain that clause. I got it the first time, and nary a bar to be found in Brand's library. That is the right ruling because of that clause. Like,
yes,
there's nothing, if you sign something and there's a clause in there saying that, there's nothing you can do.
Maybe it's Mablean.
That was a tricky one. I'm proud of her, though.
Sometimes the gavel's a tricky mistress.
Sometimes yes, especially on TV, because sometimes it just doesn't matter. We are gonna go into personal injury court with Judge Gino, but first we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Gavel,
Here we
gavel.
go. Oh, we're back. Bam, bam, bam.
Whoa.
Wow, wow, wow.
Back.
We're back. Hey, are you ready to go into Judge Gino's lair?
Dude, Judge Gino, for personal injury court, he gets it.
He does get it. Judge Gino is very serious.
Gino and the hurricane.
And Judge Gino, do you remember a few weeks back, personal injury court, mega money, right? I think it was the garage falling on the line.
Yes. The neck brace guy.
And it was $250,000 is what he was saying.
Serioso.
This time, we have Marta Roberts, who is suing Molly Clark. She's suing for $8,000 of past medical, $2,000 for future medical, and $150,000 for personal distress.
Wow.
For a total of $160,000.
Okay, got it.
Judge Gino gets immediately into what he calls the legal sauce.
The legal sauce. That's when you know it's serious.
Yes, that's exactly right. The plaintiff, her name is Marta Roberts. She has 2 kids, and she lives in an apartment complex. That apartment complex, she doesn't have a washer and dryer in her apartment, and there is no washer or dryer on the premises, so she has to go to a laundromat. Have you ever used a laundromat?
I have. It's a laundromat. I don't think it's a laundry mat.
Laundromat?
Laundromat.
Really? I thought that's how people in the South, what they call a laundromat.
No, I think it's a laundromat.
I just thought it was laundry. It's laundry mat.
Yeah. They're you never say the Y straight to the MAT. It's always laundromat. I just looked it up.
Laundromat?
Like it's an O in between the R and the mat.
So it's
laundromat.
Laundromat.
Yes.
Laundromat.
Yeah. Now you can there's other names for laundromats like Supercoin Laundry on East North Street or whatever.
Yeah.
So long story short, when I was in college, there was a place called Soapy Suds.
Yeah.
And it was a laundromat with pool tables and a bar. And
wow.
we would go and we would do our laundry and we would shoot pool and have a beverage.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That is typically not the place that you would go if you had 2 kids, right?
No.
So
No.
Miss Roberts, she has 2 daughters, both of them very young, but she has to go to the laundromat, which is owned by Molly Clark. Miss Clark, 3rd generation owner of the laundromat. So she gets
The
it.
Clarks have a proud heritage and tradition of laundromats.
They do. That's exactly right. And she's also just constantly shaking her head like this. No. As Miss Roberts is talking and explaining what happened. So here's the story. Are you ready? This gets a little bit dark, so just bear with me, okay?
Okay.
So one day, Miss Robert is at the laundromat, folding her clothes. Her daughters at the
laundromat.
Her daughters are next to her coloring, doing things, trying to stay busy as you're folding the clothes. And all of a sudden, very quickly, she sees one of the daughters get up and begin to climb into a washing machine.
Oh, no.
The other daughter pushes that daughter into the washing machine.
Yes.
The door closes and starts.
Oh, no.
And she's watching her daughter start to spin, and water begins to come down.
Oh,
and the door is locked. She can't get it on. She's pressing buttons and nothing's happening, right?
Wow.
So she has to watch her daughter
Oh my gosh.
begin to spin.
It's a really serious moment on the
Yes,
gavel.
begin to spin. Water's coming down. It is she's hysterical. She's crying. It's a whole thing. And rightfully so. That's a terrifying moment for a parent.
Piece of this.
So she said that she was crying out for help, 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 help. And no one from the laundromat came to help because these machines are tricky. It's not like our ones at home where you would know.
Because you're paying per go.
Yeah, you're paying. You need to unplug. All of that is very hidden, and it's just hard to know exactly how to stop a machine once it starts. So she's calling out for help. No one from the laundromat comes out to help. So Miss Clark said that she was there. She noticed the kids, and they were not just coloring. They were running around. They were acting all willy-nilly. They were going crazy. And she's wondering to herself, why is that lady not watching her kids? Why is she not keeping her kids under control? Do your job. Keep them in line. And she's she's watching. Going back to Miss Roberts. She's watching her daughter in the washing machine. It begins to rock back and forth. There seems to be something wrong. Water's falling down. And she's pressing buttons. Miss Clark says that she understands how traumatic that would be. There's a kid area at the laundromat.
I mean, why aren't they in the kid area
for the kid? Well, there's a picture that Miss Roberts brings of the kid area, and it's literally a small table behind the soda machines with one toy on it. Oh, it's like a card table basically.
Oh, that
with
sounds
a toy
disgusting.
on it. Yeah. So she's like, and it's kind of tucked away, and so even if I did keep my kids there, one, they wouldn't stay.
No,
we know kids.
No.
But two, I would have to. I couldn't keep an eye on them. It's tucked behind the soda machine.
Why would you tuck it back there?
And so
With cords and stuff?
Yeah, so I had my kids close by to me so that I could actually watch them, is what she says. And the picture is pretty great. So Judge Gino gets into the injuries, and Miss Roberts...
Into the injury sauce,
The injury sauce, if you will. And that is, you don't want it.
Yeah, no, you don't want any part of that.
Miss Roberts explains that a man came over... She's calling for help. A man comes over with a fire extinguisher, breaks through the glass of the washing machine. He's able to get the machine to stop by breaking it essentially, and they're able to get the daughter out. The daughter, she broke her arm, had bruises everywhere, cuts all over her face, and those injuries so far have cost about $8,000. And she says, this has truly scarred my daughter. Like, she won't even take a bath anymore.
I'm sure.
Like, she's just so, she's so freaked out by water and by things like that. And so she's not the same. Miss Clark explains that, okay, so here's the thing. The washing machine was broken, okay? It had a sign on it that said broken.
Oh, boy.
And the reason why it was broken was because it was washing without money. That's why when the little girl threw her sister in there, it started right away without any money being in there. They begin to ask, well, why didn't you unplug the machine? If it's broken, why not unplug it?
Yeah.
And she explains, well, that machine, in order to unplug it, you have to unplug an entire row, essentially.
Oh.
So they're all connected. They didn't have a picture. They're all connected in some way. So in order to, and maybe it's like a station, there's like four together. I don't know. But the way that it's set up is in order to unplug one, you have to unplug like a whole row, basically.
Okay.
And that's just, you can't do that. This is bad for business, right? I'm going to lose an entire row. And so she left it she left it plugged in, but with a sign that just said broken, both in English and in Spanish.
Wow. Where was the sign? Was it on? It was
on
the
the
door?
glass.
On the glass.
It was on the glass. Okay. And she and to Judge Gino's point, Judge Gino's like, a kid is not going to see that.
No,
a kid's not going to read that. Kids don't care.
Yeah.
And Miss Clark says, well, sure, but she should have seen it. She needs to be watching her kids. This falls on her. And Miss Roberts says, well, clearly I didn't see the sign, because if I saw the sign and knew that it was starting without coins, I would have used that because it was a free machine.
Yeah, yeah.
And so clearly I didn't know that it was broken. The sign wasn't clear enough. It wasn't visible enough if you're just looking at it. And so Miss Roberts then explains kind of a little bit more about how she's feeling. She's crying, all that stuff. And then Judge Gino asked Miss Clark if she owns the machines, and she says yes. She has a receipt basically quoting out what it was going to cost to repair the machine. So she was in the process of getting it fixed, but just it wasn't. It hadn't done it. And then Judge Gino then asked if asked a doctor to come out, as he does, to explain the injuries. Basically, exactly what Miss Roberts had said. Broken bones. He explained where the fractures are. It's a whole thing. Cuts from the glass. Bruises that are, from tumbling. And he says, but the real problem is going to be this girl, even though she's 3, she's going to have PTSD. She's going to need ongoing counseling for this. And without that, it's going to affect her for the rest of her life. And so Miss Roberts then chimes in and she says, listen, my daughter's she's a shell of herself. She's not the same. It's very serious. She doesn't even like playing with her toys anymore. She just can't do it. And Miss Clark says, none of this would have happened if you were just watching your kids. Wow. And Judge Gino says, do you not feel bad about what happened in your laundry? You just keep throwing it back on her. Do you not feel bad? You're showing no remorse for this. And she says, I do feel bad. I have kids. I have grandkids. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for your kids. You need to watch your kids. And the verdict is in.
So this is tough.
This is tough.
Because,
it's a serious case.
Yeah, I have a couple of 3-year-olds. They're almost 4. And one of them loves to climb in our washing machine.
We have all climbed in a washing machine or a dryer in our lives.
He can't stop himself. He loves to climb in the
dryer was my go-to hide-and-go-seek spot.
Yeah. The dryer is easy because it's a side load. His new thing is climbing up to the top load of the washer.
So in the laundromat, it is a front-loaded washing machine as well. Everything's front-loaded.
It's a front load.
It's front-load. So that's why it's so easy.
Well, that's why she got tossed around. Right. If it was a top load, it would have been an agitator. She'd have been fine. It's tough because I feel bad for this little one. I feel bad. I feel bad for everyone involved. I also feel like the person at the laundromat could have shown some remorse, and it's shocking that they don't have some sort of liability insurance plan for this. Having said that, as a parent of 2 kids, one of which is a walking tornado, I'm watching that dude 24/7, and it's my job to keep him safe. It's weird because I feel terrible more for the traumatic psychological element of this. I think that the laundromat should cover the medical damages, and that's it.
Okay.
Gino's going to do something in between.
To that point,
Gino's going to do something in between.
To that point, we all watch our kids 24/7, and they still get hurt. Like, it takes a split second for a kid to get hurt.
But that's why, like, when I go places, especially with my one, I'm vigilant. Yeah. Nonstop. Yeah. And I take, like, if he gets into something, it's on me. I do believe that. But I also, like, the other problem is the laundromat's just not a place for kids. Yeah. And I hate it for this girl, but the $150,000 isn't going to fix it. Right. Like, just time, love, care, and some medical help is the only thing that's going to fix it. $150,000 isn't going to fix it. I think the medical care should be covered because they should have they should have taped the thing shut. They should have taped the washer shut so she couldn't get in it. The medical should be covered. I think Gino's going to give her $75,000.
Okay. You're close. Okay. You're close. Okay. Judge Gino says in personal injury court, it has to be very clear one side or the other in order for you to get what you're asking for. And in this case, it's not as black and white as Miss Robert wants it to be or Miss Clark wants it to be. Yes, you can watch your kids, but at the end of the day, kids are kids, and sometimes they get into trouble, and it takes a second for something like that to happen. So here's what he says. He says, in my calculation, this falls 40% on the mom and 60% on the laundromat. Okay. So yes, you should have been watching your kids. But there were a plethora of things that you could have done.
Yeah.
More than just putting a sign on the washing
Correct.
machine. You could have unplugged it. And even if you didn't want to do that, to your point, you could have done more. Make it very clear. Caution tape. Do not get close to this.
Yep.
More than just a piece of paper with a Sharpie that says broken.
Yeah.
And so 60% falls on her. And so he gives her $96,000 split 60-40.
Yeah.
And that is Judge Gino, personal injury court, the legal sauce.
Yeah, the legal sauce. We did it. Man, that was something. That was a deep dive.
It was a deep dive. And listen, I love Judge Gino. I love the way that he runs his courtroom. And I think he's my second to Judge Ross.
Judge Ross
they're
is
very
the
very
top dog.
similar in the way that they control their courtroom. And so I really appreciate it. But some, with personal injuries, sometimes it gets a little dark. No one wants kids to climb in washing machines and get hurt. I know I don't.
No, none of us do.
But I think he was pretty spot on here.
Okay,
He was pretty
fair
spot on.
enough.
He was pretty spot on.
Fair enough. We did it?
We did it.
Gavel, gavel?
Gavel, gavel.
Gavel, gavel to you.
Gavel, gavel to you. I didn't think you'd
You
say
do it, yeah.
Let me just say this, guys. We're going to be back next week. We're having a wonderful time doing this. We love doing it. And if you are interested in bringing a case to the table, we want to hear from you.
Please, email us.
Email us, brand@deckthehomework.com or dan@deckthehomework.com, and we'll hear your case. And if maybe there's a case that you saw on TV, you want to hear us cover it, let us know what the episode is, and we'll track it down. We'll track it down.
We're pretty good
trackers. We're pretty good at tracking things down. But until next time,
The court has ruled in favor of Yo Gavel Gavel.
The gavel.
Yo Gavel Gavel is a Bramble Jam podcast recorded live in Greenville, South Carolina at the Bramble Jam Podcast Network Studios. It's produced by Brandon Gray. For more information, you can go to bramblejampodcast.com/gavel.